Welcome to Coastin With Quayz. This is Mark, aka Quayz, and today is a special day because today I am doing my first coaster review for the channel. So if you like what you see, please like the video, subscribe, and do all the normal YouTube things so that you can see all my new content as it's released. For this review, we will be doing a deep dive on Iron Menace. Deep dive, get it? Because, you know, it's a dive coaster. I know, horrible joke, so let's move on. Iron Menace is located at my home park of Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom, which is in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at some of the numbers and stats on the ride. It is a B&M dive coaster, and it features a maximum height of 160 feet. The drop is 152 feet long, and the overall length of the ride is 2,169 feet. As you head down that first drop, the maximum speed is 64 miles per hour, and it leaves at a 95-degree descent. It features 4 inversions, and really cool, the minimum height requirement for this ride is 48 inches, which is really, really new and unique for a dive coaster. Before we get into the analysis of the ride experience, let's go over Iron Menace's layout. So Iron Menace starts with a pretty fast climb up the lift hill. It has what seems to be one of the high-speed chain lifts. Suspense kind of builds at the top while the train is held at the crest, which is typical of a dive coaster, before diving down at 95 degrees. The drop immediately leads to 4 back-to-back inversions. First is an Immelman loop. Second, a zero-G roll. Third, a tilted loop, which is a first of its kind in a dive coaster. And finally, a corkscrew. Following the corkscrew is a leftward bank turn that transitions right into the brake run. Iron Menace's layout is somewhat unique in that it only features one dive, and that's the first drop. Typical B&M dive coasters feature a second, shorter diving drop about halfway through the ride, and I think some coaster fans may prefer the dive coasters with multiple drops. Let's be honest, the diving drops on a dive coaster are what they are known for, so I can totally understand this preference, but I really enjoyed the fact that Iron Menace only features that first big diving drop. It is a great drop with decent airtime, and it is followed by an intense, well-paced layout, albeit a pretty short layout. The pacing and intensity is really where Iron Menace shines. Each element transitions really well from one to the next with decent speed and decent forces. That tilted loop provides some great forces that aren't typically present on a dive coaster. So aside from the drop, this tilted loop is probably my second favorite moment on the coaster. I've been on Valraven at Cedar Point a number of times, and although Valraven features a sizably larger drop than Iron Menace at a height of 223 feet, Valraven performs an Immelman right after its drop, and then it goes right into a mid-course brake run before heading down its second diving drop. This brake run disrupts the pacing early in the ride, resulting in a less intense experience. In my opinion, Iron Menace may be smaller and shorter than other dive coasters out there, but because of the direct pacing, I prefer it to the larger siblings. Okay, let's move on to the negatives. Honestly, I don't have many. Some riders have complained about some roughness during some moments, especially right as the train transitions from the final turn into the brake run. I did notice a very tiny jolt in that moment, but it wasn't uncomfortable. Overall, I think the experience was very smooth. Iron Menace does feature soft vest restraints instead of the older hard restraints. This could be resulting in some people noticing some more wiggling, but I actually enjoy the vest restraints and I didn't experience any issues with them. My biggest complaint with Iron Menace is that it only features 2 trains. Even at the preseason event where I got on the ride, I had to wait 30 to 40 minutes in line for each ride. On non-weekend days, the dry park side of Dorney Park usually does not get really busy, so I don't see this being a major problem as long as station operations are quick and efficient. Each train features 3 rows with 7 riders. Some of the larger dive coasters have larger trains providing more riders per ride. I think that a 3rd train could be helpful on weekends and during Dorney's fall haunt events where it can get busy. Time will tell whether adding more block zones to the track layout would have benefited the ride by allowing another train. For my final verdict on Iron Menace, I am giving it an 8.0 out of 10. This is a really good ride, and it is a perfect fit for Dorney Park. The park has been in a great need of a new, crowd-pleasing coaster. Its last truly new coaster was Hydra in 2005. Possessed was a relocation from Geauga Lake, and Stinger was... Actually, let's just not talk about Stinger. I hope that this new investment leads to continued growth for Dorney Park, which I really feel is an underrated park, and I can't wait to ride Iron Menace more. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, keep on coasting.